Hello everyone, welcome to this video on my white gold Rover 75. I've had it since April and I've done around 30,000 miles in it. I've taken it across Europe on a 3,500 mile journey, all through 5 countries, and it was absolutely insane across all of that. Didn't break down once and no faults whatsoever. Aircon worked fab, everything is great about the car. The actual car cost me about 500 quid. The wheels are cool 120. These are the best wheels in my opinion you can get. Some would argue the Meteors are better, but these are just big pimping, really nice wheels. The xenon headlights cost me about 30 quid and they need a bit of a polish. But other than that, I think this is the best value executive saloon you can buy, especially when you can get a Connoisseur SE like this for 500 quid in full working order. I opted for the 2-litre diesel model because diesel go far. I can get around 700 miles on a tank out of it. I've literally driven it all around the country. I've never had any issues. And the one thing I like about this car is it's an early long reg car, so it's 2001. It's a Y reg. The 75 was produced between 1998 and 2005 with one facelift in between. The bumpers and everything are constructed kind of weird, so they all, when you take the actual bumper off, the whole face of the car literally comes off. I think that was for the ease of transitioning over to a new model, in brackets the Mark II, which is basically the same as this, just with different plastics. No metalwork was changed because they were trying to keep her afloat on a budget, I guess. But in terms of the styling, I really like what they were going for with this. Yeah, it is a bit retro-y, but compared to the S-Type, which was launched at the same time at the same motor show and is basically its brother-in-arms, in brackets competitor, even though they weren't in the same price bracket, just looks so old and dated now, whereas this still looks funky and fresh. Well, that's arguable, but this thing just seemed to have aged gracefully, whereas that looks very, very, I'm not going to say old manish, but it does look old manish. In terms of the styling of these cars anyway, with the serpent wheels, which really set it off, and these xenon headlights, it looks fairly modern. And because there's no Rovers after this, well, you've got nothing to compare it to. So you're driving one of the newest Rovers on the road. Therefore, whereas Jaguars have advanced over time, the Rover stopped in 2005, and the facelift, it looks good, but in my opinion, it doesn't look as good as this. Originally, I wanted a Mark II, in brackets the facelift version of this. I couldn't get my hands on one because they seem to lack equipment in terms of the Connoisseur SE. That one, the one I saw, only had the heated seats and climate control, whereas this has the heated seats, the roller blind, the climate control, the cruise control, the electrically adjusted seats, the leather seats. It's just, this car was real steel, and it is a credit to its former owners, except for this bit here, which was before the last person who had it. Shout out Rachel. This was the best purchase I've ever made, well, this year anyway. And the big bit of rust there, which is just from someone going up a curb and hitting it too much. Fortunately, on my car at least, the interior is starting to age. We've got these wonderful bits here that are coming off from the spray glue they put on. I have a similar problem with my MGF. It looks really bad because someone actually tore them off. There's a rip in the wonderful speaker cover over there, and these on the airbags are starting to come off. In terms of the interior, I absolutely loved this tiered dash. You've got a nice cubby hole here, you've got a nice cubby hole here, you've got giant door bins, which is the main reason why I bought my last car, the A-Class, and the wood, just to me, especially when you're driving at night and you've got the amber glow of the dials hitting you in the face, it's just pretty nice. It makes you feel like you're in your grandma's house, and that's just nostalgic AF. Build quality of the interior, it's all very standard stuff. It's an executive car and it feels like it. I mean, there's a few instances of things like that, but I mean, that's just because someone removed the screws on this and just didn't put it back together. The radio in my car has been changed to this weird Sony aftermarket one with Bluetooth, which is, so 550 quid, Bluetooth, everything in here. I mean, it's just a no-brainer. I mean, I just can't get over why these cars are so cheap. Maybe it's because Rover's dead. Maybe it's because they're unreliable and the stigma around them. But I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 airbags. 8 airbags in a car that cost me 550 quid. It's just insane. Why would you ever buy a Vauxhall Vectra? Why would you? That's what I was looking at before I bought this thing. A Vauxhall Vectra. I think it was a design. A Vauxhall Vectra design. So basically, depression on wheels. Just, it blows my mind why you wouldn't buy this car. Maybe it's not for you, hey? Maybe it's not the style, it's just not for you, but for me, at least, and I think majority of the people that actually buy these things, it's a no-brainer. Why would, look past all of the stigma and that badge, look past the styling, and think about it in terms of value. Even in that term, it just makes absolute sense to buy one of these. You've got a brilliant BMW diesel engine, a really nice smooth auto box that was a little bit jerky when I got it the first time, but it's fine now. It's probably because I was driving like an idiot. You've got dual zone climate control, you've got 2 heated seats at the front, you've got a really nice rear roller blind, which, yeah, it's a bit squeaky. I'm probably just going to WD-40 it. You've got cruise control. When I was looking at a Vauxhall Vectra, I had to pay about 800 quid for cruise control and for it to be a diesel. It's just a no-brainer. And especially if you can get one like this that's been looked after, that has some form of service history, which is the main thing with these things, because they were in the weird in-between area of, you know, 2000 to 2010, where they were at their lowest and they just get chavved up, which is the worst thing for a car. If a car survives the chavening, it's pretty much a sound bet. General style of the car, which you always look back at. I don't know one person that looks back at his Vauxhall Vectra, sorry, or Ford Mondeo. You've got the build quality, you've got the value, you've got the fact that you know it's going to go up, and you've got just this shit equipment. I know I keep going on about this, but it's got, I forgot to mention, it's got a self-dimming rear view mirror. What Vectra at £500 has that? You can show me one if you like, but I ain't going to buy it because it's depressing. This is the best car, in my opinion, executive saloon you can buy for under £1,000. And people say S-Class, money pit. W220 is a money pit. If you get it for under £1,000, they're usually terrible. And even the E-Class, is it the W201? I think that's it. They're the ones that just rust like crazy. No, this is the best car, the best executive car, and in my opinion, the best car you can buy for under £1,000. And you can disagree with me all you want, that's just my opinion. In terms of driving it, it's an executive car. It's not a sports car. It goes around corners nice, but it wallows a bit. The bigger wheels that I put on it really do help make it feel sportier and negate some of the awful body roll it had on the 15-inch crowns that I had before. The speed of the car, it's a 2-litre diesel. I think it has about 130 brake horsepower and something like 200 nanometers of torque. It's not wicked fast, but it picks up enough. I would personally, if I had my time again, go for something like a V6 that's well maintained and that had the belts done, but I needed a diesel, I wanted a diesel, and I still want a diesel, and here it is. This is what I have. And it's just totally worth it. I know I keep banging on about the price, but it's totally worth it. It's not got a catalytic converter, which I'm kind of against, and I'm thinking about changing the exhaust to the newer model of exhaust. If that has a catalytic converter, I'm probably going to look into that. But it's just a great car. And I think, quite frankly, if you look over this, you're lost. Because this is heritage, this is reliable, it's an amazing car. All-rounder, perfect. And it's a car that I look back at every time I park it, and that is what makes a car your car, is when you can look back at it in the car park and go, yeah, I like that. I think the one thing I want to touch on though is this specific car. After purchasing this, there's a bit of a practical joke. Hey, it's the old man car. I ended up basically just becoming absolutely besotted with the car, and here we are today. I bought those wheels, obviously. I've invested about 150 quid in it, and it's never ever let me down. It always makes you feel special in terms of the car it is, because you barely see them on the road, and when you do see them, there's something about Rover drivers and MG drivers and just car enthusiasts in general, that when you have the same car or you have a similar car and you flash your lights, they'll wave at you, and it's absolutely great. Unless it's some you know, grandma who doesn't know anything about the car and she just has it because she has it, and that's when it turns a bit weird. But in terms of driving it now, I mean, it's fairly sedate really. I've got the auto box, and it's exactly what you want. It's quiet, the radio's nice when it's on, but I can't put it on for copyright reasons, and it's just amazing. This car has taken me all over, and so far in maintenance it's cost me a service kit and a battery. I mean, I think it was last week, I stuck my key in, turned the key, and then the car just would not start. Nothing. Everyone's like, oh no, it's the ECU, you know, it's death, that's it. And it just turned out to be the battery. So, what more can you say really? In the time I had that A-Class, it cost me, the plugs, a service pack. In terms of servicing, it was £1,300, but luckily I saved that. So, it's just completely I really do love this car. It takes me on long journeys. I've driven it thousands and thousands of miles. It never lets me down. And even when it did, that one time, even on my cruise control, I better put my heated seat on too. Even that one time it let me down, it just, you know, it was just a simple maintenance item. Just something simple like that, a crap battery. But, you know, it absolutely kills it. Oh yeah, the brakes do squeak a little bit, but, you know, yeah, I'm that old ass guy that waits for other people to go. But in terms of running the car and everything, the only real expense is the flipping fuel it uses, and it gets good MPG anyway. I average about 58.8 on the motorway and around 45.2 around town. It's just, what more can you say? This is the worst hill ever, by the way. Absolutely terrible. And then this bit, oh my god, Yorkshire roads. Oh no. Come from Lincolnshire, so everything's flat where I live. Well, where I used to live, everything's flat, but now it's just absolutely, Yorkshire's crazy. South Yorkshire especially, crazy. But if you enjoyed this video, subscribe. I need more of that. Like, comment, share, do whatever the heck you want, and thanks for watching, and keep watching, I guess.